If you are still procrastinating on your dreams in 2025, you deserve life imprisonment. I know it sounds very harsh and a little extreme, but I don't think we understand the gravity of a lifestyle of just constantly procrastinating, particularly when it pertains to our dreams, our vision, and our future self. The sentence for delaying your destiny is far more severe than you think. Far more severe than you think. You think you have loads of time. You think you have all the time in the world. But let me tell you this, the days may feel long, but the years, they are flying. 2020 was 5 years ago. Literally 5 years ago. One day, if you continue on this path of procrastinating, you will realize that you have the right to change your mind. You could have started again. You could have moved differently. You could have become a more fulfilled version of yourself. But now here you are, filled with regret, frustrated, and depressed because you did not decide to move in discipline. The real heartbreak is that, and this is where my hyperbolic argument today actually begins to kick in, because the real heartbreak is that you will realize that people were waiting on the seed that you never sowed. Lives were waiting on the version of you that never showed up. And that could be within your own immediate family. We have the capability of shaping the generational lineage of our family. How it looks, the wealth that is transferred. Creation is groaning for you to show up. Solutions have been delayed because you have failed to move in accordance with your identity. Your spirit man, your actual full, fulfilled, best version of yourself. And that's because you simply talked yourself out of it, or you decided that you're going to play small. Before you make that mistake, we're gonna have a little chat today. We're gonna have a little conversation today, because I, as a therapist and as a lover, desperately want more and more people to wake up to themselves. Life imprisonment is reserved for some of the most serious crimes. Premeditated murder, human trafficking, drug trafficking, treason, terrorism. But what if I was to say that procrastination is also a crime against your own potential? That it's a crime against your divine assignment, against the lives that your gifts, skills, and knowledge was designed to transform. Follow my hyperbolic argument so that we can get into what you can do to overcome procrastination today. Because enough is enough. These are some of the reasons why some of the most serious crimes come with a life sentence. Number one, incapacitation. The justice system locks up some of the most dangerous individuals within our society so that they cannot harm other members of society. It's to protect the members of society. It's to ensure safety and social cohesion. And if there's one thing we know about procrastination, is that idleness breeds destruction. The idle mind is the devil's playground. It is the devil's workshop. Why is that? Because when you delay your calling, when you delay acting on the very thing that you were meant to do, create, multiply, to actually bring forth solutions into society, to add value to society, to yourself, and to the members of your community. When you delay that and you fall into the habit of procrastination, what happens is you spiral into boredom. And as a society that don't know how to sit with boredom, the dangers that flow thereof is we begin to fill the voids with distractions, endless gaming, drug taking, endless scrolling, wasting time. And because we are not walking in alignment with our innate makeup to create, it leads to depression. It leads to a constant distracted state. We begin to engage in toxic habits. We become a tyrant to our own mind and to the members of society because we are not being fruitful. Fundamentally, we are not being fruitful. We fall into toxic habits because our soul is starved of purpose and meaning making, leading us into a dark hole, a mind that is filled with regrets, a mind that is consumed by fantasies, a mind that is constantly being tempted. When we are not engaging in our reality and applying ourselves, we're constantly in la la land, in a fantasy, vicariously outsourcing our innate capacity to create to other things. It is why some people fall into gaming addictions or into have an unhealthy relationship with certain celebrities because they have outsourced their creativity, their fruitfulness. And here's the kicker. The moment you stop growing, you start dying. The moment you stop growing, you start to die. We've seen this with studies on the life of those who have retired early, but with no purposeful design for their retirement. There's no volunteering, no hobbies, no contribution to society. And as a result of their reduced physical and cognitive activity, their life expectancy drops. It's the same with us who are not engaging with life and doing what is necessary. Secondly, the purpose of life imprisonment is retribution, punishment for your wrongdoing. When people don't pursue their calling, society suffers, and this needs to be punished. We have several diseases that still have no cure to this day, and each one is a reminder to us that someone has an answer. Thirdly, another aim of life imprisonment is to deter other members of society. What if we made procrastination costly? Because it certainly is. It costs you your peace. You have several tabs open in your mind with no intention to close them. And now you've gotten into a pattern of overthinking. You're paralyzed by all the activity of things that are in your mind with no intention to solve them or to complete anything. It leads to anxiety because the work is still piling up, because the vision is still burning in your heart. But now you're frustrated. You're sat in a place of tension because you have not yet taken that first step. And the mountain just seems like it's getting higher and higher, and you are further and further away from that divine dream, vision, and calling. You're further away from materializing and self-actualizing. It's costing you your confidence because you're not engaging in the risk and the challenges that comes with overcoming. You've played it safe in life, and our dreams have a shelf life, a window, a moment in time in which conditions are ripe. The opportunity is here. And when you wait too long and you allow the gap between ideation and execution to widen, somehow, some way, you lose sight of the very thing that you know you should be doing. But thankfully, our justice system is just, and there is rehabilitation. So you have the grace. Life imprisonment isn't always final. There's parole, there's redemption. You can still move on, you can still make a shift, and you can decide today to start. When you are on a journey of becoming the best version of yourself, you cannot rely on a thing called motivation. Motivation is a feeling. It comes and it goes. It's like the weather. It is not reliable. It usually kicks in after you have started, not before. So if you're waiting to feel like it, unfortunately, you are going to be very stuck on your journey because there will be hurdles along the way when you are on the path of purpose, when you are on the path of actually building something that means a lot to you. There will be trials and tribulations. And if you're just going to rely on how you feel, you're not going to make much progression. That's why discipline is the highest form of self-love. It says, even when I don't feel it, I move. Even when I'm unsure, I honor what I said I will do. It starts small. Take that first step in alignment with your identity. So thinking and imagining and activating that version of yourself that is moving in true wholeness and fulfillment, doing exactly what you have envisioned yourself doing, building, creating. You need to start to act in alignment with that version right now. You're not waiting for that version to show up. You are creating that version right now by taking actions in alignment with that highest version of yourself. So whether it's a thing of a desire to become fit and strong, what is the daily routine of the fittest version of yourself? Take some steps. Do you need to just wake up when you said you would? Do you need to start drinking water before scrolling? Start taking some small steps in alignment with the identity. This is how you break the cycle of procrastination for good. You move in identity. You move in alignment with the values of the best version of yourself. You move in alignment with the calling over your life. You move in alignment with the purpose that you know you are here to fulfill. You start to move in alignment with your future self because you know who you are. Actions which follow the identity of the best version of yourself will begin to break the yoke of procrastination. I remember I was working at a law firm, very prestige environment. There was a lot of structure. It was well applauded. It was a job that people appreciated and esteemed very highly. But I knew deep down that I was misplaced in this environment. I knew deep down that as an individual, I was a communicator. I was relational. I loved to see people on their path of self-discovery. I was the friend that people sought constant advice from. There was something about being in spaces whereby I could allow for other people to be seen, heard, and understood that provided me with a lot of fulfillment. And for some reason, I was in an environment whereby I felt like I was essentially, I was behind a desk and I was paper pushing essentially and dimming parts of myself which I knew were made to shine. And when I was honest with myself and examined my strengths and my weaknesses, I had to accept that this place was not going to cultivate the best version of myself. It wasn't going to allow me to fulfill my purpose in society. And when I came into that moment of realization, I had to now make some gradual steps to move out of this environment so I can do and live a life that I felt was more in alignment with who I was. I wanted to create a life whereby I had the liberty to operate in the freedom of my giftings. And the moment that I realized that I'm not connected to this job, and I believe that our jobs have several purposes and you've got to do what you have to do in certain seasons. But I had the privilege and the liberty in this particular season of my life to decide that this isn't going to work for me. This isn't how I'm wired. I'm not wired to operate as a lawyer. That this isn't where my gift is, fully served or meant to be served. That was the moment that I had to make some drastic decisions. I took several steps back so I can actually be propelled into my desired life. And because I knew who I was and what I was made of and what I carried as an individual and what breathes life into me, that path, although challenging, the vision became clearer as I stepped away to now train to become a therapist after years of studying within law. But it was fascinating because the moment that I made that transition, my path became lighter. The distractions that I was experiencing at that time lost a lot of grip. My purpose isn't just a title. So it wasn't, it wasn't about me just becoming a therapist, because being a therapist has only become an avenue in which I can use, a tool in which I can use to utilize my divine gifts. But the moment I made that transition, I realized that I had so much focus. I had so much clarity. And the more I walked in it, the more I became. The more I walked in that path, the more I became the version of myself I knew that I desired to become. So I would ask you today, is this version of yourself rooted in identity or in expectation? Rooted in identity, actually evaluating your strengths, your weaknesses, exploring what you love to do, and also examining who can benefit and who you can best serve? Or is it just a matter of you are currently on a train and the train is taking you, and you haven't done the evaluation work, you haven't done that deep diving work, and you've allowed life to just carry you? The time that you think you're saving by playing and staying small, you're actually wasting. I couldn't get over the fact that I'd spent almost, if I'm to add it up, I would say 7 years in education. I couldn't get over the fact that I spent 7 years studying for a course and I wasn't utilizing it. 2 years have passed. I completed my training as a therapist. You'll be surprised when you begin to walk in who you are, the kind of doors that are going to open. So that's when, when people say, oh, I feel like I've lost so much time and I don't know if I can make the changes that I need to make to become, or I don't know, what step I'm going to. Whether you decide today or tomorrow, time is still going. Time is still going. So stop standing in your own way. So now when you move from a place of identity, you know who you are, you know your strengths, you're clear on your weaknesses, you know on the value that you are here to offer yourself and society, you start to take action. That action with consistency builds motivation. It builds momentum. Actions create clarity. You can imagine when you start training, you had a vision of actually being in a healthier weight, gaining muscle, building strength, being strong again. And when you start to consistently honing on that vision, that identity, right? And you take action and you consistently attend the gym and you're committed, you start to see that the weight is dropping off. You're building more muscle. That builds that level of clarity that I'm actually getting towards my desired goal. And because you start to see the changes and the transformation as time goes on, it builds more motivation. It keeps you consistent. Action creates clarity. Clarity fuels motivation. Action creates clarity. And clarity fuels motivation. Motivation then reinforces identity, and it puts you in a cycle of repetition, of identity, action, motivation, repeat, identity, action, motivation, repeat. In 2025, with the amount of opportunities that has been availed to us through the internet, through social media, through tech, if you're not willing to lock in and move in alignment with your future self, your desired future self at this point, it truly is a real life sentence. Lives and generations are being transformed on the internet. We have free marketing resources for businesses, for ideas. And the world cannot afford to lose you. You can't afford to lose you. You can't afford to not show up. As an action point for this particular video, I want you to really spend some time re-engaging that dream, that vision that you had, that desired life that you know that you want for yourself and for your family. And to think about one step that you can make today that will draw you closer to your desired goal and vision. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Dr. Poku. I'm a lover and a therapist. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, or share if you found any value in this particular video.